Okay, today we're going to do some more basic art stuff. Some of you may have heard of Zentangles, which are abstract pictures that are made up of repeated patterns. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can get pupils engaged in this even if they're not arty. So they need a sheet of paper and they need to roughly draw on some boxes. It doesn't matter if they're different shapes and sizes. You can see that mine aren't particularly tidy. Usually I would use these type of fine line markers for Zentangles, but today, because it will show up better on the screen, I'm using a Sharpie. So art is for everybody, and I really get fed up of lots of people saying, well, I'm not very good at art. You can do art really simply. So this is a practice board for repeated patterns, and I'm just going to show you a few simple ideas, and we're going to start with the simplest altogether, which is the checkerboard. So you draw your diagonal lines, you go across the other way. You don't have to be particularly fussy about it, and then you just shade in either roughly or very carefully, depending on the effect you want, your checkerboard. I've never met anybody who couldn't at least get something resembling this on the paper. Now, if you're not so good at straight lines, it doesn't really matter. Say if somebody who really struggles with drawing straight lines and your lines end up looking like this, as long as you've got lines that go across the other way, that's fine, because it will just make your checkerboard design look a little bit more unusual and surreal. Sort of that whole Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass, not quite right look about it, like that. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's straight or curved. Now I'm going to take that checkerboard design and I'm going to use it again. I'm going to use it in one of these smaller squares, or shapes rather. I'm going to put them close together. This is another simple pattern that most will be able to pick up quickly. There's my checkerboard, and at every intersection I'm adding a dot, and the bigger the size of the dot, or the bigger the area, that will sort of dictate how this ends up looking. But that's a fairly simple repeated pattern right there. Then we'll get on to some more intricate stuff, which still is not too difficult for children to do. I'm going to start with a curved line going across the page, and then I'm going to draw some more curved lines going through it. We'll have that one, we'll have that one, we'll have that one, and we'll have another one there. What I'm going to do here is, where the line is going across, I'm going to take that line and I'm going to draw these sort of curves going outwards from that line. Okay, and then the bottom from the other angle, I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the one next to it and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to keep doing it until that shape is filled. and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do the same thing here. You get this amazing sort of 3D wiggly woggly type effect. The Sharpie, although it's showing up well on the camera, is a little bit thick for adding actual shading, but the joy of this is that you can add some shading to the bits where you can see where they touch. It's got a natural shadow, and you can leave the bits in the middle unshaded, and you immediately have that 3D effect, and you just keep filling this until you've got the whole thing done. And it does look a little weird, but as I say, it's not rocket science to get this effect mastered. So there's that one. Simple ideas with lines are always the easiest ideas to do. Another idea with a curved line is to draw a curve and then ribbonize it. And by ribbonize it, I mean you draw a curve and then you cross it and then you come back, so it looks like a ribbon. And then, much as we did in the last one, you just repeat that pattern so that it sort of splays out. Like that. And then you can do little bits in between, so maybe some zigzags would look quite good. And the bits in between you could maybe put a different pattern in. Okay, it's up to you. I'm gonna just finish here with the zigzags. You can see I'm not being particularly precise. If I was doing a proper Zentangle and had my picture all ready to do, I'd probably take a little more care, but I'm just practicing. As I said, you can put some other little repeated patterns in here, like random dots. Okay, so those are just some ideas of things that you can do with lines. And now we're going to move on to simple shapes. We're going to start first with circles. Draw a circle within it, draw lines to the edge, draw another circle underneath, do the same thing, vary the size of your circles. Now, I know some people will find drawing circles trickier than others. It's just something that needs practice. It doesn't matter if the dot isn't in the center, because that can make it look slightly different, but that's up to you. So there we are, simple pattern with circles that you could just fill the whole shape with. What about a different shape? How about maybe having some straight lines? Excellent, let's have a straight line here. Let's have another one going across it and double it up again, and maybe at a different angle, like that. Maybe have another one here. You can see I'm not getting this exactly right. It doesn't really matter at this stage because we're practicing. Right, the spaces in between, shade them in. I'm just rushing this. I would generally take a little more care, but there we have it, a simple design with lines. Let's look at some shards. These are pointed shapes, they can overlap I'm doing mine all pointed inwards. That's my preference. You can do them at different angles. Okay. Draw a line straight down from the point on each shard. Straight down the middle. Like that. And then add in some lines, making them kind of like leaf shape. Very simple. I'm doing every other one first because that gives you more of an idea of what it will look like on each one individually. And then we'll do these in between. As I say, this is a much thicker pen than I would usually use. It does look quite different with a finer pen. But I'm sure you can see that it's quite a simple pattern to do. So those are the shards. Let's have a couple more, shall we? Right, curls or scrolls. Simple shapes like this. Just draw them on top of each other. Some children will find this easier than others. I'm going to fill the space by adding some extra scrolls. A little bit of space there. We'll have a little one. We should have a little one there maybe. And yeah, I've got some space there. How about that? That's a very simple way of filling a space, but it's not very exciting. So what you're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to add some little lines, first going through the centre stem, and then when you get to the curls on the outside of them. Very simple but very effective, almost like they've got thorns or spikes. And it fills the space nicely without you having to do a lot more work. The idea is that you just repeat the pattern until you're happy with it. We'll maybe do a couple more. There are lots of simple repeated patterns that look quite nice. For example, the simple roof tile repeated pattern. Doesn't matter if it's not particularly uniform or tidy. You can always decorate the tiles or shade them in or add dots to them, whatever you feel will look good, or whatever your class may feel will look good. That's the trickiest bit there at the end, but there we go. It's a simple pattern there. What about some simple repeated line patterns? One that I particularly like is if you draw a rectangle and then draw another rectangle. Okay. So we've got this sort of going down in bits. And then we can add another one going underneath. Okay, so you're making like a woven pattern. And obviously your next stage then is to add these. So these rectangles are going across like that, and then you've got another line going down like that, and then you just can see that you're making that woven pattern. That takes a little bit of time, but it can be achieved, and you can always do it far more simply. We'll do one more thing, and this will be on leaf based designs. If you draw a leaf shape, the line down the middle of it, you have another leaf shape, maybe another one here. Keep filling with leaf shapes. Get the idea. That's a nice way of filling the face, but you can also do as we did on the shards, some lines, following the shape of the leaf to add a bit of texture. And there we have it. Just take a page, mark out the shapes, fill it with different patterns, and next time we'll show you how you transfer these shapes onto a proper Zentangle. Thank you for watching.